Have you ever thought about what your mistakes have cost you? I made a lot of mistakes last year, and some of it cost me time, some of it cost me money, a lot of it cost me momentum, and some really difficult moments that I had to wrestle with. And the reason that I'm revisiting them in this episode is not because I want to dwell, but it's to make sure that those mistakes stay exactly where they are in the past. Some of our leadership failures don't often look like big blow ups, nothing dramatic, maybe something that just stalls you. And busy leaders maybe don't often have the chance to sit back and really reflect on, are there patterns here that keep showing up that I don't want to repeat? When we're in the middle of leading, decisions often come very fast. People are watching, people have expectations of you to deliver. You don't often have the time to audit your decisions, to take a moment to reflect on, did this land exactly the way that I needed it to in order to still come to the outcome that I wanted? Now that I've taken a moment to look back on 25, there are a bunch of things that I know I don't want to repeat, and I really want to share them with you. So let's get into it. Mistake number one, borrowing relationship capital that I hadn't yet earned. Sometimes you get connected to an opportunity or to a person through an introduction. And many times, maybe your resume, your experience, your background seems to precede you or is the thing that opens doors for you. But if there's anything that I've learned in the past year or two, it's that you still need to treat new relationships as if they are starting from zero. I made assumptions about the proximity that I had. I made assumptions about the folks who connected us. Now, an introduction gives you access, but it doesn't give you trust. And it's still your responsibility to establish that trust, introduce yourself and the set of expectations in the way that you are hopeful that that relationship is going to thrive and be successful. Building on those relationships is so critical that proximity is not enough. Proximity is rapport, but it's not trust. The standard I'm setting going forward is very simple. I treat every relationship starting from zero. You're establishing a new set of credibility. You're building a new relationship, and you want that to be on your own laurels and through your own experience of that person and their experiences of you. No borrowed capital, no assumed context, just intentional, foundational relationship building that starts from zero. Now, what surprised me when I look at these top 5 mistakes, that being mistake number 1, and I made a lot more than 5. I'm just sharing my top 5 today. The second mistake really revealed how much I was carrying on my own. I'm in a season of being very busy with demands at home, with demands at work, and with my own pursuits and ambitions that I want to explore. And when you are stretched, and when you are trying to accomplish something big, you cannot do it on your own. You can't do it without help. So mistake number 2 for me was not outsourcing help early enough. That's delegating at work, but also for the things that need to be maintained at home. I wonder if you have ever felt like this. Like sometimes it would be faster to do the job yourself, or that you're saving time trying to spare somebody on your team or in your support network from having to go and do that thing on your behalf. But when you delay that delegation, you actually pay the cost twice. When it comes to a team, you are delaying their opportunity to learn. And when it comes to yourself, it's also the cost of the mental load of still carrying that thing that needs to be done and knowing that you're trying to go and accomplish that on your own. I wasn't protecting quality. I was postponing the discomfort of having to do both of those things. Delegation is not about getting things off your plate. It's about building your own capacity to do the things that you are really strong at, that you excel at, and that you're responsible to do as somebody who is leading a team, a group, a function, or even a family. When I think about mistake number 2, that actually had a compounding effect into this third one that I'm going to detail. At some point, holding on to too much starts to create a tense emotional bubble where everything feels like more and more added pressure. And at some point, that pressure bubble is going to burst. Mistake number 3 was letting my feelings decide. There were so many moments where I let my feelings make decisions where they weren't meant to be made. There were times where I didn't execute on my plan because I didn't feel ready or feel confident or feel like I was in my zone of genius or feel like the work that I was doing was any good. And when we let our feelings decide, we miss out on those opportunities to learn, and we forego the opportunity to be disciplined and see something through to a conclusion. And I'm not trying to say that there is no merit to feeling burnt out, feeling exhausted, or not feeling like you've got the confidence to move forward. But when you let your feelings be the thing that drives you, you're not always going to be the most effective because that pressure is never going to go away. Finding ways to be more decisive, come to decisions more quickly, and ultimately have systems that make it so that even when tired, even when feeling setback, even when feeling a lack of confidence, you can still move forward. Those are things now that I prioritize and things that I know I need to improve on to be successful. And once I saw how my emotions were influencing the things that I was able to get done, I really started to see that this led to mistake number 4. I wasn't just over feeling, I was over accommodating. I did not say no enough. I took on too much and ended up being not very effective. I filled in gaps that weren't mine. I raised my hands to do things that really fell outside the scope of my work. But ultimately, it became a distraction, and it became something that drained my energy and made me less impactful in the places where I really needed to be in the driver's seat. Like many people who take on a lot and are excited about the challenges in their pursuits, I also didn't ask for help enough. I didn't ask clearly for what I needed to feel supported, to feel resourced, and to feel like I had the information I need to be successful in what I was working through. I absorbed ambiguity instead of addressing it. And yes, got me into a spot where I wasn't happy with the work I was doing. Boundaries are necessary, and not being afraid to establish what are the limits in how you can show up and the limitations of where your leadership and your effort can extend are something that's really important to establish. Nobody is a one-man show. Nobody is a machine. Everybody has a certain capacity after which you extend it. You just become a lot less helpful to the mission. Heavy stuff, I know, when I think about mistakes 1 through 4. But on the flip side, I recognize now mistake number 5 from last year, one of my biggest years professionally in terms of the growth and the things that I'm managing, was not celebrating enough. I didn't pause long enough to acknowledge how I grew. And when you're in a tough season or a tough moment, those challenges don't feel like wins. I can look back on them now and celebrate the fact that I had the opportunity to make these types of mistakes. Some of the best lessons comes from the mistakes that you know you are never going to repeat because you got burned so bad. And I'm grateful for those. Reflecting on the places where you misstepped can be really hard. And if you're really being honest with yourself, it probably should be. But I would argue somebody who's not doing the work to constantly look for ways to improve their impact, how they show up for others, how others feel empowered under their leadership to grow and to do their best work. If you're not doing this type of work every day, there's only so well that you're ever going to lead. You're going to be setting new goals. It's the beginning of the year 2026. Take just as much time to audit what's been going on. Look for those patterns that when you have mistakes that are in isolation and you put them together, what actually does it point you to? Some of those lessons only become clear after you've survived them. Leadership isn't just what you're able to do in real time. It's how you can integrate everything you're learning once you've had a chance to slow things down. So I urge you in this season, slow things down. Take a moment, look back, figure out all the ways that you want to show up differently in 2026 and beyond. Real growth comes from when you decide what you no longer want to repeat. You're listening to the Leaderful Inc. podcast. Thanks for tuning into this episode. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to send it to a friend who's right in the middle of setting their goals for 2026 and beyond.